There are many different reasons why a customs officer may want to take a closer look at a traveller's belongings or to check out their story.
He's going back to Colombia to see his family.
And today, officers Clorinda and Ray are questioning this passenger because of his erratic travel movements. Unusual travel can be an indicator of drug trafficking.
You live in Colombia or in the
I live in London.
UK? London. And what do you do in London?
Go to dance school.
He's got a dance school? What sort of dance school?
Salsa.
Salsa, okay.
Clorinda continues to ask general questions.
Have you been to Australia before?
It's my first time.
First time. What made you want to come here?
I always wanted to come since I was a boy.
Okay.
I always wanted to come to Australia since I was a boy.
Oh, okay. Why did you want to come here? What fascinates you about Australia?
I don't know, because every time I look at the map, it was so far away that I wanted to come here.
You wanted to come far away?
Something told me, but I don't know what. It's like same happened to me with Holland and Moscow.
Oh, okay.
I look at these things in the map and I want to go,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, okay.
Clorinda has also made a decision to conduct a drug swab of his bags. In Sydney, Immigration Compliance Officer Amber is briefing her team as they prepare to pay a surprise visit to a suburban warehouse. They've been tipped off to a Filipino man suspected of working illegally.
Because the premises is so large, speed is kind of the essence to get where you've been asked to go to, so we'll just jump right out and go. Everyone just be alert on your radio to be called in.
They've surveyed the building to determine which exits they'll need to cover to avoid a possible escape.
The forklift where the guy was seen yesterday was here. This part here we weren't able to see because we would have had to drive in front of these open roller doors over to this area, but we'd need to get a couple of people over there anyway.
Officers have a warrant to search the property and the right to check the visa status of all employees.
A lot of persons, if they have overstayed their visas or they're working illegally, they'll want to try and pretend that there's someone else. Some people have that already prepared. They'll have a whole story and identity prepared to tell us about, or they might make up a name and a date of birth on the spot.
If they find an illegal worker, they have no idea how they'll react when they realise the game is up.
People can be unpredictable, and especially those of interest to us, they can be very willing to get away from us, which means they can be violent or, attempt to run from us. So that could be a safety concern, not just for us, but for them, because they could get injured in their attempt to get away.
They arrive at the warehouse and officers will now have to move quickly to find their man. Over at Sydney Customs, Officer Clorinda is confronting a Colombian traveller about a drug reading from his bag.
Listen, I'm going to ask you some personal questions.
Right.
When's the last time you used narcotics?
About a year ago.
A year ago. What drug was that?
Cocaine.
Okay, what about heroin?
No.
Okay. When I'm swabbing your things, I'm getting very high readings for cocaine and very high readings for heroin.
I never use heroin.
Well, the readings are there, so it's either you're using them or you've been in very, very, very close contact with them.
I don't use heroin.
In Thailand, did you come into contact with any heroin? Any people that used heroin?
No.
No. Who did you hang out with in Thailand?
I am clean.
No, look, I
was
appreciate
with my
that.
girlfriend from London and she went to a hostel.
The man's belongings continue to be tested for drugs, so the possible source of the previous readings can be isolated.
That one's the other two. Okay.
Clorinda has her suspicions about the passenger.
Yeah, I'm starting to think if there's nothing there, this guy could be possibly an internal, where he's come along, contact somewhere along the way.
Possibly Bangkok.
Yeah, to fund his trip and
Same.
heroin.
That's too consistent.
In Sydney, immigration compliance officers have just arrived at a warehouse where a Filipino man is suspected of working illegally.
Hi, is the manager around? We have a search warrant for the premises because we've got reason to believe there may be somebody working here illegally. Do you know where Manny is? where Manny is. Yeah, could you show us, please?
It's a race against time. They need to track down the man quickly before he's alerted to the operation and escapes. But it might already be too late.
The manager that we first spoke to appears to have gone to warn him. He has not left us with the correct person of interest, as he agreed to do. So we're going to have to now search the premises to find the person of interest and maintain our perimeter in the hope that he doesn't abscond.
If they've helped an illegal worker escape, they could be in serious trouble.
Excuse me, your staff member did not lead us to Manny. He has actually led us to the wrong person.
Oh.
Do you know where Manny should be working?
He's taken off somewhere. So hopefully he
He's
hasn't...
taken off.
Well,
we pulled out his files.
Your supervisor has taken off. We don't know where he's gone.
In customs, the questioning continues of a Colombian passenger who has high readings for heroin from his bags.
You explain
I
why.
don't have one explanation because I told you that I've done that before. But if I had cocaine before, which was for my personal use, must have been in this bag because this is my old bag. I bought this, I don't know, 1 year ago.
Clorinda decides to confront the passenger with her findings.
My main concern is the heroin readings.
I mine too because I don't do that.
Well, everything we swab, we're getting very high readings for heroin, very high.
After a thorough search, the man's empty bags are checked on the X-ray. Nothing is discovered, so Clorinda presses on with her questioning, as well as checking some of the man's documents to try and get to the bottom of his story.
What's this one about? So what haven't you done before that you're fairly frightened to do now for the first time?
This is personal. This is something that goes in your mind, you know.
That's fine, but can you explain to me what you're doing for the first time? I can read Spanish.
A Chinese couple in a tour group have arrived at Sydney Airport, and officers Jasmine and Anna have found some organic matter on X-ray. A bag search locates some items of concern.
They're bringing eggs into the country. It is a delicacy in China, okay? It's totally prohibited because of the avian influenza that we're risking into the country. They're quite running, so they're totally prohibited into the country.
Oh, this is egg.
Yes, I know. Egg is a prohibited item.
Yes.
Okay, egg has a lot of diseases, sir.
She wants to eat.
I know she wants to eat it, but we don't allow this into our country because this has a very high risk.
We've also just found some fresh plums and what looks like a rather infested apple.
Those small blemishes on foreign fruit may not seem like a big deal, but can often be the symptoms of diseases or pests which could potentially cost the Australian agricultural industry billions of dollars.
These people had the opportunity to declare, they haven't declared it.
Yeah, he's created a breach of the law here. He's actually should have marked yes that he's carrying food items on there, but he hasn't. But just in talking with the gentleman through an interpreter, he's actually raised it with his tour leader about food items, and the tour leader's given him some false information. He's actually told him that it's only a small quantity, he doesn't need to declare it, which of course is incorrect.
No egg?
So now the tour guide will be located and asked to explain. Over in customs, the questioning continues of this Colombian with drug readings coming from his possessions. Clorinda is now interested in some entries written in the man's diary.
I can read and speak Spanish, so I can read it.
You can read
Yeah.
it then.
Well, I've read it, but that's what I'm saying. What is it that it's the first time and you want all the help you can and first time you're doing it?
Although I don't know why should I explain that this person.
But what are you talking about? That's what I want to know. Who
because
told
I want
you
to help humanity.
you want to help humanity?
Like,
So who did you speak to about that?
it's a voice.
A
It's a
voice?
voice that you have inside.
I don't have any voices inside. Where did
Everybody has it.
You're really starting to confuse me because you've got all sorts of business opportunities, you're engaged in all sorts of things, and in the end, I really don't see a legitimate money earning. From my view, doing my job, okay, I don't see affordability for your travel. I'm getting very, very high heroin readings from all over your things. Okay, so that's a concern to me. Second concern is, are you a legitimate traveller to Australia? Are you here for what you say you are here to do? Why are you spending so little time here? You have no affordability, you're running on credit, you're going to get back home, you're really going to have nowhere to grab onto.
In quarantine, a Chinese tour group leader is taking responsibility for tour members bringing in undeclared food.
So he's now saying that he didn't know the food was in his bag. Is that what he's telling us? Okay, well, look, ultimately he's responsible for whatever he's carrying in his bag. Okay? The fact that somebody else might have put it in there, he's responsible for what he's putting in his bag. And if that officer has told, if the lady has told him to declare the food and he hasn't declared the fruit, we're going to issue him with a quarantine infringement notice.
Not a great way to start your holiday, but some of the education has already rubbed off.
I think every person has responsibility to protect the beautiful land, beautiful area, Australia. Yeah, all the.
Said.
Immigration has paid a surprise visit to a Sydney warehouse where they're searching for an illegal worker. They're questioning the warehouse manager, but suspect their target has been warned of their operation and escaped.
Do you know where Manny should be working?
He's taken off somewhere.
Yep.
So hopefully he
Has he
hasn't...
taken off?
Well,
we filled out his files.
Your supervisor has taken off. We don't know where he's gone.
Where's the,
we suspect that he's gone to warn Manny in order to allow him to abscond.
Well,
he led us to the gentleman over there and it seems to know
no, he's
nothing.
the supervisor.
Yes, but he knew he was supposed to lead us to Manny, not to the supervisor.
And now he went out that way, did he, Danny?
Well, that one guy tried to, and there's also one guy that
The supervisor.
Sign in. Okay, well, let's go outside.
No sooner do they head out to look for him than a call from one of the immigration officers comes in over the radio.
I'm at the left-hand side of the premises I was positioned, and a POI has tried to walk out, and I have just stopped him. He's right next to me.
Copy that. Ron, if you could proceed around to where Samit is.
One officer is holding the suspected illegal worker, and other officers move quickly to join him.
Samit, are you all right? We're still heading around.
At Customs in Sydney, Officer Clorinda is briefing Supervising Officer Jim about a mysterious passenger whose bags have high readings for drugs.
And he's been in Thailand for a month before here, doing what? Just the beach. All he's done is beach. What is he going to do in Sydney? Just the harbour. He wants to look at the harbour. Can't really explain anything. Knows nobody here, staying in the backpackers. The only thing that's concerning me, we're getting heroin readings all over the shop. 8.82 is the lowest reading we've got. He's not admitting to any use. He's used cocaine 12 months ago. The only option is looking at internal. I'm doing a frisk, but I don't know. Now, you realise that you can say no to the search. You do not have to say yes.
I won't say no.
Okay. If you agree to do the search, you can do it here or go into a private room. It's up to you.
Can do it here.
Do it here? Okay.
Senior Officer Jim conducts a frisk to see if the passenger is carrying any drugs on his body.
It's just a bit unusual, like all your travel movements, and like for short periods of time and strange places. Yeah? So what's the go?
Since I was a boy, I always wanted to go around the world, you know, and know several countries. And this year, I say I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I say I'm gonna.
All the considerations for a high drug reading have been exhausted by the customs officers, except one. Could he be hiding something internally? At the International Mail Handling Unit, Quarantine Officer Loudon's day is about to get messy.
This is a very wet box we've got here. Looks like something's been leaking out the side there.
The outside of the box is bad enough, but things get worse when Loudon opens it up.
It's pretty rotten. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. I don't think we want to smell that too much.
Officer Loudon will have the unenviable task to identify the contents of this putrid package. In Sydney, immigration compliance officers have paid a surprise visit to this suburban warehouse, where a Filipino man is suspected of working illegally. They think they've tracked him down to a back corridor.
Roger, it looks like the PY has attempted to abscond from the rear. Samit has found him there and is holding him. Samit, are you all right?
I am, Mr. Colonel, I'm okay, but he is saying that is not his name.
Copy that.
I'm not an illegal immigrant here. I'm not trying to walk out.
It's okay, sir, it's okay.
Do you have ID?
What's
You're not sure? Okay. Do you want to just run a quick check?
It's a case of mistaken identity, but he did give a tip-off as to where the suspected illegal worker might be.
He says Manny's in the warehouse.
In the warehouse?
Yeah.
And this time, it looks like they have their man.
Manny? Yep. You have no visa to be in Australia?
No, I have...
Officers at the International Mail Handling Unit have just made a revolting discovery.
We've got some dried fish. It's declared as dried foods, but it's actually dried fish from Thailand. The box is pretty badly deteriorated here. Looks like there's a lot of worms, maggots crawling around in here. We'll have to send it for fumigation. Just have to get it sent downtown to the entomologist to ID the fly, see what fly it is. If it's one that we've got in Australia or if it's an exotic one.
The Aquis Entomology Lab ensures that these creepy crawlies are identified, as they could pose an enormous risk to local meat and fish industries.
All right, we're going to have to get some bags here. With these ones being so active, it's quite putrid. So the sooner we get it taped up, the better it will be for everyone, because the whole place stinks.
A Colombian passenger has aroused suspicions because of high drug readings coming from his bags. Now officers are considering if the man is concealing internally.
Are you feeling all right in the stomach?
I want to go to the toilet.
I can send you to the toilet and I'll have 2 men officers with you. You cannot close the door and they're controlled toilets. Do you understand?
If
Are you happy with that?
To resist the smell, yes.
Well, they're used to this. We do this all the time. Okay? It is a controlled toilet, so we have to get an officer to be there.
You can check if I have something in my stomach, by the way.
Okay?
So you can check if I have something in my stomach, by the way.
You're saying we can check? Why would you think we want to check your stomach?
Because that's what you have me here.
Well, why would you say
to see
that?
if you have drugs on me, but you have drugs
Well, why would you say I've got it? You've got it in your stomach. What made you to jump to that conclusion?
No, I don't have it in my stomach. I said you can check.
Yeah, what made you jump to that conclusion of checking your
because
stomach?
this is the whole point of customs. I know this. I watch programs, you know.
Well, people don't just bring drugs inside their stomach. People bring them strapped to their bodies. People bring them in their body.
Well, that's true.
In their bags. So what made you go straight to your stomach?
Because that's what I'm used to that from Colombia anyway.
What's in Colombia?
In Colombia, a lot of mules.
Well, we get a lot of mules from Thailand.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so... as I said, these 2 male officers will stay in here, okay? This is the controlled toilet. Basically, we have 2 officers from the same sex as the passenger in there. It is a controlled toilet, so the passenger basically just utilises the toilet, and we basically check the toilet bowl after they've gone to make sure there are no foreign objects and that everything's clear. The officers are all happy with it.
Let's come back at that.
I know.
There was nothing unusual found from the man's trip to the toilet, and officers checking the man's personal medication might have found a possible reason for the drug readings.
Okay, what's happening? These tablets have got an ingredient which is a precursor for PCP or angel dust, which is a narcotic. It's a drug. You just need to be careful sometimes, especially in Southeast Asian countries. Sometimes they buy things that's supposed to be for strength, for this, for that.
Weird.
And it's got a lot of the narcotic substances in them or precursors.
One of the ingredients is a narcotic, basically.
That's right. Yeah, it's a precursor that's used to make angel dust.
Because of the small amount of the precursor drug found in the medication, no further action was taken. The medication was seized and disposed of by the Australian Federal Police, and the passenger was allowed to go.
Take care. Have a good day.
Do you have a visa to be in Australia?
Yeah, I'm illegal.
You're illegal? Yeah. You want to put all that paperwork down?
Sorry?
Do you want to put your paperwork
Immigration compliance officers have finally found a Filipino man suspected of working illegally in a Sydney warehouse.
down? Have you got any identification on you?
Now I didn't bring because
You have nothing
I always
on?
live in my house.
You have nothing on you at the moment.
Is that you?
Yeah.
That's your photo?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's
Just,
the right man. But despite admitting earlier he was illegal, he now claims he has a work visa.
According to our records, you went to the tribunal
Yeah.
and they decided not to overturn your case. So
But
you've
I
already
have,
been to appeal and that's been decided already.
There's no point in us continuing this conversation here. We believe you to be an unlawful non-citizen, and therefore we are detaining you today under Section 189 of the Migration Act. Okay? The other man's down here.
He was taken away by immigration officers for further questioning.
But I have a permit to work. I have permit to work.
No, you don't, sir.
Today, a young Californian passenger has arrived in Sydney after holidaying in Thailand. Officers have become interested in him because of his suspicious travel movements.
So how long are you going to stay here this time?
Probably about 2 weeks until I get everything figured out.
So what do you do when you're here?
Hang out, surfing.
You didn't bring a board with you?
They're here actually.
When did they arrive?
When I arrived last time.
And you left them
During
here?
the interview, Officer Jim discovers that the passenger might not have enough money to fund his stay.
You got $600 on that. You've probably got at most $200 there. It's going to cost you. You haven't paid for your hotel accommodation for 2 weeks.
So that's still $800 or $900
Just say, let's say
US.
70.
That's $800 or $900 US, which would be about $1,100 to $1,200 Australian.
You're going to be short of money. You're going to
Well, if I am, my parents are a phone call away, and they helped me out when I was in Bangkok because I needed the money and I didn't have any money.
Why did you need the money in Bangkok?
Because I was out of money because everybody's been taking my money over there.
Who's been taking your money?
Hotels, airplanes. Yeah, I missed my flight back, so I'm already down.
You're staying in hotels. You didn't stay in backpacker accommodation. Would have been a lot cheaper.
Well, you can't really stay at backpacker accommodations when you have girls that are traveling with you because they require hot water and...
what girls were travelling with you?
Girls that I met in Bangkok.
Obviously, travelling with girls is not a crime, but the officer is concerned whether the passenger is trying to bring something illegal into the country.
You ever used any dope?
No, not really.
No, not really. What does no, not really mean?
Well, it depends on what you mean by dope.
In Brisbane, a student returning from China has tried to sneak in bags full of undeclared food. This is serious enough, but the passenger's brazen attempt to cover up her false declaration could land her in even more trouble.
The young lady's come through and she's presented me firstly with this passenger card. On this passenger card she declared no food items at all. And then I started opening the bag and at that point she said, oh, I may have something else, and presented me with this card. Now this card has not been processed through customs. She just pulled out the last minute in case she's got caught, and she puts it as a secondary measure, but that's not going to help her because this is the card we need to go by, and that's where she's come unstuck. Just very carefully because this is extremely important.
Yeah.
You came to me and you showed me this card. Okay. You didn't declare food. We came through the x-ray, and then from your bag you pulled out this card. Did you fill it out because just in case you're going to get caught?
Customs officers are always on the lookout for new and ingenious methods drug runners use to hide their illegal cargo. So concealments are discovered in the most unexpected places.
Good dog, good boy.
Today, Officer Kane is suspicious about a parcel that has arrived at the Sydney Mail Handling Unit from Peru.
What I'm looking at here is an apparent area where there could be some sort of concealment.
The unusual shape that has appeared on the X-ray has attracted his interest.
There's an organic area on the outside and then an organic area on the inside. One way to explain that would be two books on top of each other. But in this case, it's very uniform and it's too aligned with both books for that just to be one book sitting on top of another.
The almost perfect consistency of this image highlights an inconsistency to customs.
An example here on a previous package that's gone through, you can see possibly two documents. One's up and outside, and that's pretty, yeah, it is. It's not lined up and it's not really perfect. This one, by being pretty much perfect, sitting one inside the other, it appears to be one document with two distinct areas, which is something we definitely want to have a look at.
Did you fill it out because just in case you're going to get caught? Yes, you did.
The passenger card is a legal document, and any attempt to deliberately deceive quarantine with a false declaration is taken extremely seriously.
If you don't know, mark a yes.
Oh, I just don't know, so I didn't read it.
Yeah, well, if you didn't read it, you shouldn't sign it.
I went to Australia for 2 times. Why
Yeah.
this time
Well,
is not so lucky?
If you had written down food, this would not be happening. If you had said yes, you had food, I would say no, this can't come, no, this can't come, and I would say see you later, bye-bye. But you have made a false declaration on your card, and you have so much food, prohibited items as well, which has made it worse for you, okay? You've lived here, you've studied here, you've come back to Australia for the second time. You'll be here for at least 2 more years. I think you know what you're doing.
You ever used any dope?
No, not really.
No, not really. What does no, not really mean?
Well, it depends on what you mean by dope.
Well,
Customs is not concerned with passengers' possible drug use when they're overseas. Their job is to stop illegal drugs crossing the border.
Dope can be smoked, it could be smack, it could be coke.
Well, definitely not smack, definitely not coke, but yeah, I do smoke some weed from time to time.
When was the last time you smoked weed?
Maybe 3 days ago.
The search continues as the officer decides to check the passenger's laptop for any illegal images or videos.
These are all porn movies that I've downloaded from the internet. You want to take a look at each one? There's 30 of them.
Okay, let's do that one.
While not all pornographic material is illegal, Officer Jim has been trained to identify certain types of pornography which may breach customs regulations.
I'm not a sicko, man.
What's that?
I said I'm not a
I never
sicko.
said you were. Yeah, that's fine.
No illegal video files were found on the passenger's laptop, so Officer Jim continues to question the passenger about his travel movements.
Do you remember what day you left Australia?
Let's see, I arrived on the 20... Was it the 28th then? It was the 28th. It was near the end of...
You're the one travelling.
You're asking me to remember back like 2 months ago now. I've been in Thailand for 2 months.
You've got to know where you're going. You've got to know where you're going.
I do know where I'm going. I'm coming here to Australia, but you're asking me when I left Australia, and like you're not being specific in your questioning. It's just going in circles, man. Welcome to Australia.
Officer Kane has detected some inconsistencies in a parcel from Peru, and he's decided to take a closer look.
This is pretty much what I was expecting to see in the books. There's a couple here. It doesn't explain that inner square that I was looking at. So they appear to be electronic products. I wouldn't exactly expect that from Peru. They're not exactly famous for their electronic parts or products.
And these electronics catalogues are suspicious for a couple of reasons.
There's quite an aroma, quite a smell coming off the pages, a little bit chemically smell. Really what I'm looking at with these pages, they are unusually thick. It's definitely an unusual consistency. They're very thick and I can't see any reason why. You don't generally see thick pages like this. There's definitely a room for a thin layer of powder, and if it was spread throughout this entire book and this book as well, that could add up to a substantial amount.
In Brisbane, a student has brought with her bags full of undeclared food, some of which pose a serious quarantine risk.
We're looking at for the meat products, the foot and mouth disease, BSE, mad cow disease. We're looking at banana products are just not allowed in the country at all. It's not treatable at all, any banana products. The mushroom, because there's a variety of mushrooms around the world, and it doesn't tell us what mushroom it is.
Not only has this student tried switching passenger cards when caught with a false declaration, she now thinks she knows the job better, arguing on what can and can't be passed through quarantine.
Last time it's okay, so I think this time is also okay.
Well, I wasn't here last time, and I don't believe that this is written in plain English, dried beef. I don't believe any one of our staff here would look at this, see dried beef and say, okay, you can go. Dried beef is a prohibited entry into Australia. Okay. This cannot happen. So I don't believe that story that went through last time.
How about this one? I think it's okay. I trust that this one is okay and this
Okay.
one.
This is the perfect example, okay? We need things to come to Australia commercially prepared and packaged, which is great. This is what it is. The problem with this one, it's in Chinese. There's no way I can even check or help you on our computer to find out what mushroom these is. Certain mushrooms are not allowed.
You can ask someone.
I can ask anyone, but I'm not going to believe them until I have some proof of what I can see that's in front of me. Okay? I don't know what these mushrooms are.
I think this one is okay. Because I bought it for many, many times.
Have you?
I promise it's okay.
Mushrooms.
I think mushroom is okay.
Yeah, you can draw. You can draw me any mushroom you like. They all look the same.
Yeah, trust me, it's okay.
I cannot trust you. If I trust you, I should go home. If I trust everybody here, I should go home. I'm not doing what I should be doing. Okay? I'd like to trust you, but that's not part of the job. There are rules and regulations, and we need to follow them.
Yeah, wake up from your nap on the airplane to this.
Customs Officer Jim is checking the belongings of a young Californian passenger.
What's wrong? You don't seem real happy.
Well, I mean, you have me look at pornography on my computer, okay?
Part of the course here, you have to look at that sort of thing. We get people come through here on their computer, they have images of children, they have images of all sorts of things they shouldn't have.
Until Customs are satisfied that the passenger is not bringing anything illegal across the border, they will continue their search.
I'm being forthright and honest, and this is the kind of treatment that I get.
So have I mistreated you? Have I been abusive to you?
I feel that you've pointed your finger at me. I think that you've pointed your finger at me.
Looking at your travel movements, where you've been, what you're doing, you've been backwards and forwards here and there, out of Australia and all that sort of thing.
And it's wrong to do that because I'm young and this is a time in my life and what's the problem?
No, because often you find people who may be committing a criminal act. In other words, moving drugs across a border.
You know what, you're just not listening to anything I say and you're continuing on your little rampant path. I'm a pretty straight up kid.
A passenger returning from China is refusing to let boxes of undeclared and unidentified mushrooms be seized by quarantine.
To you and let you understand what's going on.
To me.
It's not that
You
simple.
can check in.
Tell me what the mushroom's name is and I'll check it.
I don't know the mushroom.
Yeah.
That is.
Well, if you don't know, how can I know?
His name is China mushroom.
His name is China mushroom.
It's competition. It's mushroom. Give the mushroom to me.
Yeah.
But her pleas and protests don't change the fact she brought in a huge amount of undeclared food and must therefore pay the penalty.
She knows. She's read the card. She's made a firm decision not to mark a yes that she's had food, knowing full well she's got the food. She tried to blame it on the video in the airplane, saying she's watching the video and filling it out. She signed her name to a legal document. I don't think she's cleverer than that. So I need to inform you now, we need to charge you with a quin of $220
220.
and 20 Australian dollars.
No.
Well, look,
No.
You know, if
I
you-
should not pay the money because give the mushroom for me.
You don't have to pay the money now if you don't want to, but we can go to court, and we can go to court if you like.
Officer Jim is briefing his supervisor about his concerns that a Californian passenger with erratic travel movements and few funds isn't telling him the whole truth.
You've been in and out a few times. You weren't really interested in telling us who you're here to see.
I'm not here to see anybody.
You don't have enough funds to support yourself for the entire time. Now, if you can supply me with details, like you said, of who you can stay with in Australia, where you can stay, and what they do, then it can become a different matter. I'm just curious why you're travelling in Thailand, what you were doing.
Scuba
If
diving.
you had access to any drugs or anything to bring back to this
No,
country.
I had
That's all
access to
care.
marijuana, and I smoked marijuana, but I'm definitely not bringing anything back.
And drugs can be concealed in the lining of luggage, so officers decide to x-ray the man's empty suitcase.
Who's paying for this right now? Australian taxpayers? Good job. Good job.
Two electronics catalogues have arrived from Peru, and Officer Kane suspects their pages could be concealing something.
Okay, that's peeling back rather easily. It's definitely two distinct layers. Seeing what appears to be a paste, there even seems to be small clumps of the paste, and it does look slightly powdery in some areas. So you can see here, there's a definite area where the paste is more thickly located. It seems to be just around the border, around the outside, and that explains the difference in thickness in the X-ray image. I've never seen, personally, this sort of concealment. I don't know how much of the paste is the substance we're looking at. So honestly, it's very hard to say whether it's a large or small quantity. Imagine that through all of these pages would be substantial. I'll do my Nick field test and we'll run a test on that powder if we can get a sample of it.
Nick tests help customs to identify a variety of illicit substances. A sample is taken and placed in a sachet containing vials of liquid, which are then broken to mix with the substance. A colour guide shows what colour the chemical reaction should create if it is a positive result.
That probably I would call a good reaction. Straight away, blue on the bottom, pink on the top, two separate layers. It's highly likely that's a result for cocaine. So that's exactly what we were looking for. Good result.
Okay, you want to go to court? If you want to go
I need the mushroom. I think it's so cute.
A passenger's refusal to pay her fine catches the attention of the duty manager, who teaches this student a lesson on quarantine's strict standards.
I need the mushroom.
I can tell you that this isn't allowed in.
No, I'm
Okay.
not sure. When you put it on the hot water,
Yeah.
you will know it's mushroom.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we can't identify what species mushroom it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not allowed. End of story. So you need to choose now whether you want to pay the fine or go to court. If you choose to go to court,
I choose this one.
yep, we'll go into an interview room and we'll be able to interview you
Yeah, I
if you
choose
choose.
this one because I want to check in the mushroom.
If you choose to go to court, you still won't get the mushrooms. The mushrooms are going in, they can't come into Australia.
And what will happen is this $220, are you listening? This is very important if you choose the other decision. If you choose to go to court, you could be more than $220 to pay. This can go all the way up to $60,000 and 10 years jail.
She's refusing to pay a $220 fine unless she's allowed to keep boxes full of mushrooms, which are prohibited under quarantine law.
If you choose to go to court, the magistrate will make a decision based on all the products you have here and whether or not you've declared them, which you haven't. Okay, so you can still choose that. May end up in an increased penalty.
I promise this mushroom is okay. I'm not sure as a food, but I can promise the mushroom is okay.
We're not going to discuss the mushrooms anymore, okay? Mushrooms are out.
I need mushroom.
Which one are you going to choose?
You need to make a decision. That's most important right now.
Finally, the passenger decides perhaps it's not worth going to court over 6 boxes of mushrooms and chooses to pay the fine.
Trust me, it's the best option for
The
you right now.
mushrooms cannot come in regardless of what you choose on that form, okay?
Okay, so...
Sean's going to take you over to the duty counter to pay the fine.
And hopefully next time we see you, you've declared your food.
No, next time.
And you finish your university course.
No,
Okay.
next time I remember.
Next time, remember.
Yes,
Good thinking. Thank you. She knew full well she had food, and by declaring yes, she had food, she would have avoided the fine, still lost the products, but would have been $220 richer.
Customs officers are x-raying the bags of a young Californian man who's admitted to recent drug use, and his temper continues to fray.
I was thankfully getting out of Thailand because I've spent too much time there, and it's been a nightmare trying to get out of there, and now it's a nightmare getting back to where I'd like to be. It's just ridiculous. I'm young, I work on the internet so I can work all over the world, and this is what I want to do, and I'm coming up against walls here.
If officers are satisfied that the passenger is telling the truth, he'll be on his way.
I rang the Bondi Hotel. I confirmed that he does have a reservation for tonight.
He's got no money, and
He said, well, what if I say my parents can give me some more money? They gave him $2,000, he reckons around the 20th, put it into the account.
The x-ray of the passenger's bags is clear, and he's free to go.
You're letting me go now? Okay, thank you.
Good, thank you very much for your help today.
I suggest that you do,
Not go to Thailand and not come to Australia?
no. Sort out your ticket.
Yeah, that's the first thing I'm doing. That's why I came back here instead of just going straight to the US.
And once things have cooled down, the passenger is very understanding.
They got to do what they got to do to process everybody and push them out. So, I mean, they really had to keep me there as long as they felt necessary. And if 2 hours is necessary enough for them, then that's enough for me.
Today, Officer John wants to take a closer look at these two men.
Well, I was observing them just before the passport control, and I could see that the younger guy was sort of coercing the older guy and telling him what to do, and they were behaving very suspiciously and nervously up there, and they just stood out. All right, I'm going to ask you some questions. So just tell me about your trip. You've indicated 7 days.
Yes, 7 days.
What are you going to do while you're here?
Visit Silver Hill, and after that, I know that Silver Hill and Queensland, Gold Coast.
So you're going to the Queensland and the Gold Coast?
Maybe few days.
Who's this gentleman here?
He is my uncle.
Your uncle?
Yes, right.
Why is he travelling with you?
Because he don't know English. I can speak some English, so we can go together. So easy for you to do your job.
He's your father's brother or your mother's brother?
Mother, brothers.
Is he older or younger than your mother?
Who is it?
Your uncle.
My uncle is more younger than my mother.
He's younger than your mother?
Yes.
Are you telling me the truth?
Sure I am.
You sure you are?
Yeah, I swear. I can show you.
Because we're going to check.
Now, basically, the manager's is quite happy.
In the outer suburbs of Sydney, immigration compliance officers are preparing for an apprehension at a nearby steel fabrication plant.
We've had 3 persons of interest at this premises, 3 Chinese fellows. Now, I do have photos of the people that we are going after.
Although intensive surveillance has already been carried out, the officers have to locate and then verify each of the targets on the premises.
They could possibly escape via this back area there, but it's such a large area, it'd take them a long time to get around.
Mud maps and careful planning help seal the perimeter, but surprises are part of the job, and officers can never be exactly sure of what to expect.
If you do not have a premises well contained with officers on the perimeter, then people will attempt to leave the premises via whatever exit if they have an opportunity to.
Sealing the perimeter of a building and then locating their targets are the team's first priorities.
My name's Diana from the Department of Immigration. You speak English?
Each worker will have to be corralled into a contained room to have their identification checked.
Guys, if you can just come inside, just won't be too long.
But one man seems to be holding back, and his suspicious behaviour has officers concerned.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Many concealments are extremely difficult to detect as drug smugglers and syndicates look for new ways to beat the system. And today, a suspicious parcel from India has just caught the attention of officers.
They've made no declaration on the package to say what it is, so we don't actually know. It looks to us like there's clothes in here.
Officers Lisa and Michelle take the package to a deconstruction room to begin their search for any sign of a concealment, and straight away discover a not-so-subtle clue.
The first thing we noted was the smell. Yeah, it's not consistent. I mean, these clothes are dressed to be going to a shop in a suburb of Sydney, so you wouldn't really expect them to be smelling like that if they were going to a shop. It's really strong smell. Never smelt it pretty much that bad before. And I've got a cold and a blocked nose, and I can still smell it.
Tell me about your work. What sort of work do you do?
I'm salesman. I'm take order, shoes order.
Shoes?
2 men who claim to be related are being questioned by customs officers in Melbourne.
Before you came through the passport control, I was watching you up above the line.
You can watching me?
I was watching you, I was observing you.
Yeah, okay.
And you were telling that other man that's travelling with you, you were telling him what to do, and when...
No, because
you were, and then when you approached the module, you took his passport, and you were, you know...
I took his passport because he don't know English. I already tell you. Before I come inside, I already tell you. My uncle don't know English.
We're going to have a look through your bags, okay?
Can.
You've got a lot of clothes here, sir. A lot of clothes. You're only here for 5 nights.
Yeah, because...
another pair of
Because why? Because I'm easy get sweat. My body easy get sweat. So if sweat got one smell, then the perfume also cannot bring in. So that's why my body easy get sweat.
You're here for 5 days and you got nearly 20 pairs of undies. Why so many?
No, I don't want to look dirty, you know.
Okay.
Because we want to show somebody.
You can change your shirts 3 times a day for every day you're here. You brought a tie?
Yeah.
Well, you're on holiday. What do you need a tie for?
Because I saw in TV so many European or Australian they wear tie. So I want to follow your style.
A lot of Malaysian people wear ties, but if I go on holiday to Malaysia, I'm not taking a tie. I can tell you that right now. Sir, I'm going to tell you straight out, I don't believe your story.
Immigration compliance officers in Sydney are at a steelworking factory suspected of harbouring several illegal workers. One by one, the names of any workers under suspicion are verified at the central immigration offices.
Okay, last name? Okay, are you ready? Okay, his Papa Alpha Romeo.
But this man's behaviour is undeniably suspicious.
Guys, can you wait here? No, can you make sure no one leaves? Oh, where's he gone?
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sir. No, come back, thank you. No,
Yeah.
sir. Come back. No mobile phone, thank you. Turn the phone off.
They haven't checked his ID yet, but it's pretty obvious that he's got something to hide. In the mail handling centre, Customs officers Lisa and Michelle are examining a parcel with an extraordinarily strong odour.
It smells like vinegar, basically. It indicates possible heroin concealment somewhere in here, which is not looking obvious at this stage because they're closed and they don't feel as if there's anything concealed in here.
And the dresses are dirty. They're dirty dresses. They've been worn and they've got marks on them.
Obviously, like this one here, I mean, what we can see is there's just buttons here, and there's buttons sewn on at different points on the dress that doesn't look like they really serve any purpose to be there. There's also buttons sewn onto the insides here, which really you wouldn't need. You wouldn't normally find that on a dress.
The other thing is that they're all sewn on with bright coloured cotton. It's obvious that the buttons have been sewn back on. See? Doesn't look very good.
You would never think that that button would have something in it. It just feels like a normal button on your shirt.
Just have to wait and see if there's anything in here, though. Just looks like a normal button to me.
At Sydney Quarantine, a passenger from a Middle East flight has declared just a bottle of rose water. But officers are suspicious that the declaration is a cover for something else.
This one, can you put this one down on that trolley for me, please?
While Rita questions the woman in Arabic, Elizabeth discovers a heavy package wrapped in paper.
This is labelled as white crystal sugar. Inside is raw tobacco.
As well as the duty imposed, raw tobacco has huge quarantine risks, so officers need to make sure that the passenger isn't carrying any
She
more.
wants to talk to you as we go, but I want to do a manual on all of them. All of them? All of them. Okay.
At Melbourne Airport, customs officers are trying to uncover the truth behind these two Malaysian passengers.
This gentleman arrived from Malaysia, and he claims that this gentleman here is his uncle, which I'm not convinced that's his uncle. And he's got a lot of clothing, a lot more clothing than you'd expect to see for a seven-day stay. And I also think he's very rehearsed. He's prepared very well for this, so we can only see what happens.
Another officer is searching the belongings of the nervous second passenger. He also seems to have overpacked for a short holiday, and questioning him is difficult because of his lack of English.
What did you want to come and see in Melbourne?
Holiday 7 days. Long.
Holiday 7 days.
I swear I tell the
Listen,
truth.
I don't believe your story, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell me the truth about what your intentions are, okay? And before you answer, think very carefully about what you say.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes, I understand.
All right, so this is your opportunity to tell me the truth, okay?
That's right.
All right.
It's all the thing I was say just now is fact. F-A-C-T. It's true. F-A-C-T fact.
So this is packing for 5 nights? And you're going to Phillip Island and Sovereign Hill?
Sovereign Hill.
And you're going to fly to Queensland and the Gold Coast?
Yeah, maybe.
You got $2,000 at the most to do all that?
But I don't know how much the etiquette, from Melbourne to Queensland, I don't know how much the etiquette.
It all seems very rehearsed to me. Very rehearsed.
I'm telling the fact.
You don't seem like a normal tourist to me.
000.
Immigration compliance officers are at an outer Sydney metal factory, tracking down suspected illegal non-citizens.
Thanks, boss. All right, that's fine.
All right, no problem with that one. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, sweet, mate.
One by one, the workers have been cleared until only 2 remain.
They've overstayed their visas, so we'll have to deal with them and just have an extensive chat with them and just see what sort of decision we'll make regarding the immigration status in Australia.
One of the men has been quietly but repeatedly trying to escape.
Sir. No, sir. No, come back, thank you.
This man is out of options.
He appeared not to speak any English, so I asked for some details. But he was also a little bit wary of us, possibly because of his status, I'm not sure. And on several occasions walked away from me and some of the other DEC officers. So it was quite obvious that there was a little bit of an issue.
Pack yourself a bag or something like that, just your overalls, because you're not coming back here today.
And with a chance to change clothes, the man is escorted from the building, but continues to keep the officers on their toes. The man is taken to Villawood Detention Centre for further questioning. Quarantine officers at Sydney Airport have found several packages of raw tobacco concealed in a passenger's luggage. So now Customs has been called.
That is all tobacco?
That is all tobacco.
Kidding me?
No.
Okay.
It's wrapped here as white crystal sugar.
I asked her if she understood, and she packed the bag and that, and she said yes. And then when Liz started pulling them out, she said, oh, I didn't know. I said, how could you not know?
That's obviously commercial quantity.
Yeah, you can't get this type of tobacco here. It is a very expensive tobacco if it's of good quality. So that's probably why they conceal it and they try to bring it in.
Is this raw leaf, in your opinion?
Well, it's like this. It all seems to be like this.
Okay.
Well, I'm opening them all up.
This is going to be a lot of trouble. I'll have to get my manager because there's so much here. That's obviously commercial quantity.
As duty hasn't been paid on this tobacco, Customs may charge the passenger duty or even prosecute. Customs officers believe that 2 Malaysian passengers arriving at Melbourne International Airport are not telling the truth about why they are here.
I think that their intentions are to stay on and work in Australia. Now, their visa doesn't allow them to do that. They're here on a tourism visa. And I think that basically what he's telling me is a load of lies.
I come to your country with a happy mood, M-O-O-D, mood. But you suspect me. Now in my mind, I'm feeling so down. Why? Because first time I go to visit your country, I pray to just hope that I have a happy trip for holiday.
I'm sorry, sir. I don't believe it.
It's okay.
It's not personal.
Okay.
I don't believe your story at all.
Oh, never mind. It's okay.
You don't have enough money to even think about going up to the Gold Coast and to Queensland. You don't know anything about Phillip Island or Sovereign Hill. But why do you want to go and visit there?
Have one museum there. Around there, have one big museum. So I want to know your history and your modern life. See how the difference between this all. I want to know more about New Zealand, Australia. Sorry about that.
Officer John has made a new discovery. The name on the passenger's credit card does not match the one on his passport.
All your documents need to be issued in the name that's on your passport. You can't have a visa card in another name.
At Sydney Airport, quarantine and customs officers are questioning a woman who has 10 carefully wrapped packages of undeclared raw tobacco in her luggage.
First of all, she said that she's packed her bag. Then when we started finding out that she's got the tobacco in there, my brother-in-law opened the bag and he's packed it. And I said, how could he open your bag again and pack so much tobacco in there? And then the story changed again that no, I had no idea that he's put the stuff in the bag.
So we've got 10 of these.
So you got some more here.
If the passenger decides to keep it, the raw tobacco must be treated to destroy any potential threat to Australian plant life.
We're just waiting for this lady to decide whether or not she wants to have her tobacco treated by quarantine. And if she decides she wants to do that, then we'll need to calculate how much tax and duties payable on that tobacco. As there's so much, as you can imagine, it could be quite expensive.
The passenger was very fortunate that she only received a fine of $110.
Okay, she doesn't want any of this,
Okay,
so we're
so
not
we'll
going to
destroy it.
heat treat it. Yep, we're going to destroy it.
Rita, can you get the lid?
At the International Mail Handling Centre, officers are examining the buttons on dresses which have arrived in a parcel from India.
You can see there's a something white inside there. So it is well hidden and it's not easy to open. Would have taken some time. It looks suspicious to me. It's very hard. I think it's wrapped up in plastic. Yeah. It's had all the air taken out. There, it's plastic.
Under the plastic, there's a compacted powder, but officers still need to work out what it might be.
We can put a small sample of this powder that we found here. If it is actual heroin, it will turn green.
Heroin. There you go. Nice, strong, positive. Just a confirmation of what we already thought.
At Melbourne Airport, Customs Officer John is briefing his supervisor on the story given to him by a Malaysian passenger.
Here's this guy's got enough clothes to stay here for months. He's got 9 pairs of pants. He's got 15 shirts. He's got suit and tie.
What did he say he was doing here?
Okay, the plan is they're going to go to Phillip Island. They're going to go to Sovereign
Have you
Hill.
asked him what Sovereign Hill is?
Yeah. He has no idea. And then they're going to the Gold Coast. And he has not enough money to go to the Gold Coast.
Oh. Well, call them. See if they want them.
It's John. I've got these 2 Malaysians down here.
Officer John makes a call to immigration. Customs are convinced that the 2 men are here to work illegally.
All right, sir, so immigration are on their way down and they're going to want to interview you further. All right?
Can.
Well, I think you're here to work, sir. I think you're here to overstay your visa and work in Australia.
No, I'm not. You just do your job, I know.
We'll just wait for immigration now. Okay?
John, thank you.
Immigration officer Suzanne escorted the passengers to an interview room where they made a startling admission.
Yvonne admitted that the passenger that he was travelling with was not his uncle, as he had told them down in customs, and that he had only met him a week before, and that it had been an arrangement that the 2 of them would come to Australia in search of work, and that it had been arranged by a travel agent over in Malaysia.
Immigration officers are trained to identify passengers displaying suspicious or unusual behaviour. Often there is a lot of confusion about a passenger's true intentions.
So what do you prefer to be called? Rona?
That's my nick.
Today, this passenger has arrived from the Philippines, and Customs have just found a stash of different male student identity cards during a bag search.
Past boyfriend. It's because I collect them as surname cards.
And they've also found some undeclared medication.
Because I'm taking.
So Immigration Officer Ken begins his interview to establish if Ronald is a legitimate tourist.
Hi Ronald, how are you?
I'm fine.
That's very good. I'm from the Department of Immigration. Just here to ask you a few questions about your visit to Australia. Now, first question is, why have you come to Australia?
To take some holiday and to see my relatives and friends.
And how long do you intend to stay here?
1 month or 2.
What's your occupation, Ron?
I have a business internet cafe in a boutique.
Okay, so you're the owner?
Yeah, I'm
okay. Do you intend to look for work while you're here?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. What relatives do you have here?
Cousin.
Mum, what's her name?
Tara.
Tara.
Because she's gonna pick me up.
She's picking you up here today?
Yeah.
Okay. Be with you in a moment, Ronald. Just got to go and ask a few questions and try and get a few answers, okay?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to find out some information from the person who's waiting at the front and see if their stories match up.
Hopefully it won't be too hard for Officer Ken to find Ronald's family, as right now the terminal is very quiet.
Well, there's nobody out here, is there?
And if there's no one to verify the story, Ronald's time in Australia could be very brief. Every passenger that crosses our border must firstly go through quarantine. Their job is to minimise any biological threats, and often the one obstruction is the language barrier.
This lady speaks Spanish. It can be quite difficult with the other language to try and get the message through and find out what they've actually got in their bag.
Pobre Peter de Hor.
Your family, yeah.
Quiere saber si han absoluto.
A Spanish-speaking officer tries to find out why she has brought such a large amount of food into the country.
Buenos días. ¿Cómo estás? Sí, bien, ¿y tú? Mire, señor.
He discovers that the huge number of food parcels are gifts.
Este para mi hija. Este para
For
mi
her
hija.
sister,
Este
for
para
her,
mi hija.
for her
Esta es mi
auntie.
tía.
And her generosity doesn't stop there.
This is for the auntie of another family members.
Mira,
So
ropa,
for friends and
ropa,
family,
no
she
puedo
put it in.
creer.
Okay, this one she can keep to give back for presents.
Tú lo
Okay.
puedes quitar ese está bien.
Yeah.
Pero es
However,
comida, señora.
she still will have to pay a fine for bringing in without declaring.
Now she's getting upset that some of her gifts will be seized, and she's arguing that because the food is cooked, it should be allowed.
Ay, señor, por favor.
Ese
Pero,
semilla
señorita,
todo.
esto es tallo.
Lo siento,
Pero, señor, le traigo regalo a mis hijos.
Ronald has arrived from the Philippines saying the visit is for a holiday, but immigration has had no luck in finding anyone to verify the story.
I couldn't find Tara. Tara's not here.
No, she's here.
Is she?
The passenger is also carrying a lot of documents which the average tourist wouldn't need.
I'm a bit concerned, Ron, with, you know, you've got all this stuff with you, all these certificates with you. I can only assume that you're coming here to work.
No.
Why did you bring a police certificate with you?
I did not intend to bring that to work here in Australia.
Well, it looks like that to me.
Honestly, even if you will just give me 1 week, I will just go back in the Philippines.
I want the phone number for this company and I'm going to give them a ring, okay? Because I'm leaning both ways here. I don't know whether to believe you or not to believe you.
So Officer Ken needs to confirm that the passenger has a legitimate business in the Philippines. But he's still having trouble finding anyone connected with Ronald.
Have you got any other phone numbers?
In customs, a passenger returning from a round-the-world trip has caught the attention of officers.
The passenger behind me, he's had a couple of risky travel movements. He's basically gone to the US, then he's gone to South America, he's been to Peru, Argentina. He didn't say he went to Colombia, but we got ticketing that says he did for 1 day. He also then went from South America to Europe. That's also a bit tough going from South America to Europe. We do get a lot of drugs coming from South America.
Yeah.
Come across it at all?
Yeah, there's getting offered to you all over the streets and in the nightclubs, you know.
So you did see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not see it. I didn't actually see it, but I got offered it too.
You got it offered too?
Yeah.
When Officer Sean discovers a stack of CDs, the passenger reveals more about his party lifestyle. He sometimes DJs at dance parties around the world.
Just played a big party in Thailand on the beach with 5,000 people.
So you're doing work over there?
Yeah, that's what I do for it. Yeah.
As Officer Sean continues questioning the passenger, a swab is taken from his personal belongings to see if he may have come in contact with drugs. In Brisbane, officers are trying to calm a passenger who's desperate to keep her precious food gifts of za'atar, a Lebanese favourite.
She's coming here for 40 days. She said it's not a very good way to portray Australia. This is the way Australia wants to be portrayed.
Now the woman's son-in-law has been brought in to try and sort things out with the help of a quarantine supervisor.
Now, I've been living in Australia for 25 years, and every Lebanese person that comes into Australia brings this in with them, because we all eat it as a breakfast staple.
It just depends on how it's packaged. We ask that the products be identified. So even though it's vacuum packed, and this says fresh nuts, and there's not fresh nuts in there.
Well, it should,
so
that's why it's fresh herbs.
Yeah, I know. So it's incorrectly labelled.
Are you saying that that problem is going to prevent me taking this out? I mean, I want that for my own consumption of my children.
Yeah, that won't be able to leave here.
Well, what's the way around that?
Because
that's an unfair. That is an unfair decision. I mean, we need this. We eat it every day for breakfast. Every day. It's almost of spiritual significance to the Lebanese community to eat this for breakfast. My grandparents used to have it mailed out from Lebanon. It used to come in the mail. And now we can't even bring it ourselves. Vacuum packed in airtight containers. It's a disaster.
Boy. Thousands of packages pass through Sydney's Clyde Mail Centre every day, and customs and quarantine officers must scrutinise each and every item to make sure nothing illegal slips through the net.
This is a high-risk package, primarily on the fact that it's coming out of Brazil. High risk for cocaine. I'm definitely inclined to have a further look at this package already. I'm not seeing anything too obvious in the way of things we'd be looking for. If we've got a powder concealment, there tends to be cracking on the screen.
Despite the fact that the package seems to contain personal items, Kane feels that there may be more to it.
And there's a very, very strong smell of like a curry powder, which doesn't really fit in with the package because there's no food products in here. It's really very strong. Possibly throw our dog unit off.
To me, this is a tragedy because my mother-in-law goes and picks the za'atar herself, which is the thyme, dries it, grinds it up, and then adds the herbs herself.
The son-in-law of a Lebanese passenger is desperately trying to convince quarantine that they should be allowed to keep a large quantity of their favourite food, called za'atar.
Most products that come in this country, even under the permit system that may be prohibited, it's all commercially done under set standards. This is just collected from the garden.
But the passenger's son-in-law is not giving up.
Can we make a deal? You know, I don't mind paying the fine so long as we can have the za'atar.
Unfortunately,
the only options for a product like this, it's not just to destroy it. It can be sent back.
Sent back where?
Well, to wherever you want it sent back to, away from Australia.
Away from Australia,
There's a fee involved. We can hold it and you can make a decision on what you want to do, or it can be destroyed.
The man feels so strongly about not wanting to lose the Zata that he's decided to take things even further.
Because I'm going to have to speak to our federal member of parliament.
In customs, cocaine readings have just been taken off bags belonging to a DJ returning from a round-the-world trip.
Basically, we've had positive reaction to cocaine. So we'll empty the bag. We've got to do a thorough search to make sure that you haven't got it. Okay.
The passenger doesn't appear to be concerned with the positive cocaine reading. So customs needs to find out whether he's putting on a confident front because he might be hiding something.
Condoms everywhere.
Officer David x-rays the passenger's luggage. But it comes up clear.
We're happy with that bag, mate. That's fine. Also, probably just do a body pack down. Is that all right?
If we can do it quickly, it'd be good.
The passenger seems to be in a real hurry to get out of the airport.
We have some concerns that you may be bringing something to the country that you shouldn't. And we've looked in your bags and we can't seem to find anything of interest in our bags. Another area that may be of concern if you're carrying something on your body. So do you have anything on your body around you at the moment? So what we're going to do is detain you for the purpose of a frisk search. We'll explain what we'll do and what your rights are. So just read that one.
The quickest way to do it is...
So you're consenting to a frisk search?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll come round.
Just get you to stand here facing this wall here. Just put your arms out to your side like this. Yeah, that's fine.
Over at the Clyde Mail Centre in Sydney, Officer Kane is about to x-ray the contents of a suspicious box from Brazil.
Happy with those. I can't see anywhere you can seal powder in there.
With the contents given the all clear, Kane decides to x-ray the cardboard box.
Okay, that's what we wanted to see. There's lighter areas, there's darker areas. Powder, it tends to spread. So it's obviously spread out a little bit, there's gaps, and I'm sure there's powder inside the bottom of that box where it's lumpy, so it's only a matter of finding out what that is.
Back in the testing room, Kane takes a closer look at the box.
When I pick it up, it's heavier than I would expect an empty box to be, so that's also a good indication. The box can morph if it's wet, it can change shape, but when I'm pressing down on these rough edges or these rough parts of the box, they're pretty solid underneath. It's very uneven. You can see the sides of the cardboard here, they're nice and flat, nice and flush. This is very lumpy. It's just too lumpy.
In Brisbane quarantine, some undeclared prohibited food has just become a political issue.
This is all very obstructive. You know, I mean, it's vacuum packed. I mean, that's the best that these people can do in third world countries. I mean, they've done their very best.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind paying the fine, but I really need this up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as I said, we can't let it go through.
Okay, I'm going to need not 24 hours, I need 72 hours, all right?
Well,
I mean, I'm going to try and track down the president of the Lebanese community in Brisbane.
That's fair enough. The other thing is we have to pay for it now. That's the only options I've got. Your signature in here?
Finally, for a $30 fee, the son-in-law agrees to have quarantine hold the Zata.
Thank you for that. That's great. Thank you, Fatwa. Bye. And next time you declare, okay? Thank you.
Thorough search, isn't it?
Is there anything in your shoes?
In customs, officers have frisk searched a passenger who's returned home after travelling to several high-risk countries, but they have found nothing.
Of every high-risk country in the world, we've stopped there and said today, all right?
Yeah.
Officers David and Sean must make the decision of exactly what to do with him.
I'm happy for him to look now.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, mate.
Is that fine?
Well done.
Yeah, mate. Cheers. See you guys. Thanks. Finally, I'm free. Nightclubs, obviously, you know, there's drugs in every club you go to, basically. People taking them. Someone's obviously touched me. Yeah, so I personally haven't taken them myself, but obviously been around circumstances and environments where there is drugs. But I'm free now, so yeah. Cheers, guys.
In Sydney, immigration is trying to verify that Ronald's only here for a holiday. So officers are confirming the passenger has a legitimate business to return to in the Philippines.
None of this is making sense at the moment, okay? I still believe that you're coming here to work.
No, because I just went here just for holiday only, not for work. Honestly.
I still believe that's why you bought all those certificates with you. That's to support an application so you can work here.
I did not intend to just go there to work.
Are you telling me the truth?
Yes, I am telling the truth. I assure you to just give me 1 week to just see your beautiful place, then I'll go back in the Philippines. I have my family there. If it's too hard for you to
It's getting very hard at the moment because the phone numbers you gave us, we can't contact any of those phone numbers.
Why don't you just try it, dial again? If not,
No, we've tried.
You will just send me back to the Philippines. I really love to see your country, but
Officer Ken decides to take one more look around the terminal. If he can't find any family members to verify that Ronald is here for a holiday, Ronald could be on the next flight home. At Sydney's Clyde Mail Centre, Customs Officer Kane has found powder packed into the bottom of a package from Brazil.
Now it's a matter of identifying what might be concealed within the walls of this box. Just make an incision in the package where it's especially lumpy. But that's actually come back with a small amount of white powder on it, so we'll analyse that, see what happens. It's a positive. It's a very strong reading. 2.87. Anything around 2 is pretty good. It's telling me that it's cocaine, and I see no reason not to believe that.
Immigration has concerns about this passenger, who they think might be here to work illegally.
because the immigration told me that I'm probably gonna work. It's because of my documents that I bring.
Finally, Officer Ken locates Ronald's family.
I'm hoping that I can still see the beautiful places here in Australia.
Officer Ken returns to discuss the case with his supervisor.
And I said, look, we're very reluctant to let Ronald go, and the guy says, I'll take full responsibility for him. Okay, Ronald. Now, you are going to stay with Tara and Ariel. Okay. They're going to take responsibility for you. Okay. Now, you understand that your visa is only
It's
for...
only a tourist.
Only for a tourist visa? We're going to let you go, all right? Now, all your paperwork, I'll put it in a big envelope for you, okay? Okay. I'll show you the way out. Okay, now that's not... That's yours, yeah. At the end of the day, there just was not enough to cancel his visa and send him back. All the information that we had, it was very similar from what Ronald was telling us and what the Australian party at the front were telling us. They understand what's going on. They're prepared to take responsibility for him. That's why we let him go. good result.